You really need to make sure that you get your act together on this issue so that you can guide us how we handle this as we move into the future. So we spent the whole day yesterday to respond to that task and to make our program. And that program we finished yesterday with a declaration and a resolution. And so today we are here, one of the founding members, the University of Nairobi, and together with the representatives of the founding members of the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science, which is our host institution, Tangaza University, represented here by VC Patrick Mania, and Equator University of Science and Technology, represented here by VC Professor Mpesa Mihigo, and then also the Grand Bassa University of Liberia and the Great Zimbabwe University in Masvingo of Zimbabwe. And so these 5 founding universities, on request of many other universities, have asked us now to register this network so that we have the tools and the means to bring this program forward. And so yesterday we had the very good news that Tangaza University, represented here by Professor Mania, the VC, have been able to register the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science as a trust here in Kenya for the whole network. I need to explain what that means. Africa University Network. It's a network of African universities, a network which means that we collaborate together. What do we collaborate on? We collaborate on open science, science that we can share, that is for the good of society, but also science that is fair. And fair here means that it handles data as a resource, as our gold, as our oil. And the way we say it is FAIR stands for data is findable, you keep it within your own compound if you can. It is accessible, but under the permission that you give it. It is interoperable so that it can speak. As researchers, we know that. We're always looking for sources to be able to compare. And that this valuable data is reusable. This solves some of the very thorny societal problems, but it also goes to the heart of what we manage in academia, that is that we handle the data. So this is really my task today, it's finished now, is to present to you the representatives of the network. First of all, acting VC Kerubu, University of Nairobi, the host of the network, VC Patrick Mania, and then VC Mpesa Mihigo from Equator University of Science and Technology, and then our patron. And our patron is the president of the Pan-African Parliament, and this is President Charumbira, who will give here today the inaugural lecture. But Madam, before we can ask President to give the inaugural lecture, we need the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science to be inaugurated. So I would like to request my VCs to join me, and so that I can give the floor to President Charumbira to declare the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science inaugurated. Please, VC. Oh, that is the incorporation. That is perfect. We can give.
As we welcome, can we put our hands together to welcome His Excellency? I come from Uganda, and I'm so delighted to see that most of you are very young people. And so having the speaker of all the speakers, the president of speakers of the African countries, 55 countries, is like having 55 parliaments. Okay, so he's the Right Honorable, His Excellency, the president of the Pan-African, the African Union Pan-African Parliament. So he's going to inaugurate this. But this network, which is known as the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science, we live in a world where there's much information, there's a lot of information. Science is being driven, knowledge is generated, but that needs to be regulated in a way that remains fair in the sense of the word fair, where the owners, the ownership, the origin of the data is really secured, remains with you, but then the rest of the world can actually access that information for purposes of interventions, purposes of studying patterns. So this network, and we are so glad because the University of Nairobi is one of the founding board members with the permission of the Vice Chancellor, and also Ezekiel, Professor Ezekiel, who has been in the network, and also Tangaza University and other universities from Liberia. So the original members of the board decided that this network will have its secretariat at Tangaza University. And because University of Nairobi is a member, yesterday we did a very beautiful conference on the sovereignty of sensitive data. And so now we have brought this opportunity here, University of Nairobi, to launch this network and interest yourselves in this network, because it's your data that is moving the world. With these few remarks, I think we will now proceed, ask our host of the Secretariat of the network, Professor Mania, to say a word, and then he'll be able to hand over this for His Excellency to open and also read through. We are a legal entity, and in Kenya here we are registered as a trust, and so it will be an honor for us to have it launched by His Excellency. I thank you so much. Over to you, Professor Mani.
Thank you so much, my colleague, Professor Mpesa Mihigo. We are really honored to be here this afternoon. As you've been told, the whole of yesterday we spent at Tangaza University, which is the host university of the network where the Secretariat is based. And it was really a wonderful day. And how best can we end this wonderful conference as to be here and to convene here at the University of Nairobi, so that we can be able now to launch it officially. It's really an exciting journey, a journey we started some years back, and we are happy that this year we were able to register this network, and it is a fully registered network under the laws of Kenya, and it will give us now the opportunity to be able now to carry on the objectives and the mission of this network. And so with those few remarks, we want now to invite His Excellency, the patron of this wonderful network, to declare this network officially inaugurated by doing a sign of a cut of a ribbon of a document that has been prepared here, which is going to act as a sign that the network has been officially inaugurated, so that now we can start now to operate. We've been operating, but now we want to operate in a more official way. Your Excellency, please carry on.
All protocols observed, but of course to recognize the key host at Nairobi University, I've been asked simply to cut the ribbon, not to give a speech.
No.
Thank you. I do this, but
We put our hands. Yes,
you need to appear also.
Okay.
Yeah, like this. We'll see you that you were there.
Okay.
So
Good.
as His Excellency cuts, let's put our hands together.
Yes. So, you want to read it? Yes, thank you. The certificate. Incorporation number, that's the number. Trustees Perpetual Succession Act, Chapter 164, that is Kenya. Certificate of Incorporation, Africa University Network on Fair Open Science, AUN, FOCS, registered trustees. It's a charitable trust and is signed by the registrar of companies. So it's an authentic, legitimate, legal organization. I therefore declare that the network is officially launched. It's done.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So much, Your Excellency. Please, you are our trust.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a very beautiful occasion. So let me now just give you a small CV or profile of Your Excellency Fortune Zephania Cherambira. He is President of the African Union Pan-African Parliament, a position he has held since 2022. He is also a distinguished Zimbabwean politician and a traditional leader, currently serving as the President of Zimbabwe Council of Chiefs, a role he has held since 2013. His Excellency has previously served as Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament, Deputy Minister in Zimbabwe's Ministry of Local Government and Public Works. He's also the patron of the African University Network on Fair Open Science and has been instrumental in placing data sovereignty at the center of deliberations within the Pan-African Parliament. So before he comes to the floor, I would like to invite Your Excellency, Dr. Dunstan Mugatana, to come and at least welcome him to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Acting Vice Chancellor, who is our host. Our chief guest, the Honorable His Excellency Fortune Zephania Cherambira, is the President of Pan-African Parliament. And I'll just take a minute to let you know who is the President of Pan-African Parliament. First of all, my name, as you're told, is Dunstan Mugatana. I am a senator in the Republic of Kenya, elected from the county of Tana River. We have 47 counties and we have 47 senators whose business is to represent the Republic but also take care of our counties across the nation. Now, the Pan-African Parliament is made up of 55 members, but one of them has not officially joined us. But all the 54 states in Africa, after you are elected, you also elect 5 members to sit in the African Parliament, which is based in Johannesburg, Midrand. We hold meetings 4 times a year, and we deliberate on matters to do with Africa. So we are an organ of the African Union. In Kenya here, I head the delegation that after our election, we were elected again. From the National Assembly, 3, and from the Senate, 2 of us. I have myself and Professor Margaret Kamar, Senator, who is here. we were elected from the Senate, and then from the National Assembly, there's Mheshimiwa Mukami, Member of Parliament, Mheshimiwa Pasaris, Member of Parliament, Mheshimiwa Majimbo Kalasinga, Member of Parliament. They are not here with us today because, if you're following the news, the National Assembly Members of Parliament are on a retreat in Naivasha, so they couldn't join us. But the 5 of us, we work with Chief Fortune Charumbira when we go to our sessions in Joburg. So we are here to escort him and to support the work he's doing. We believe in this work that he's doing on behalf of entire Africa. We are so many of us. When we sit in South Africa, we are many of us from all the countries in Africa. And I know that when he's speaking here, he's speaking on behalf of all the parliaments of Africa. And it is my singular honor to invite His Excellency, Chief Fortune Charumbira, to come and address us. Please, Your Excellency. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Danson Mungatana. May I recognize the Vice Chancellor, represented here by Professor Leonida Kerubo, the acting Vice Chancellor. This afternoon, Ambassador, Excellency Ambassador Moyo, as we have heard, the Zimbabwean Ambassador to Kenya, Professor Vice Chancellor Mwanya of Tangaza University, Vice Chancellor and Professor Mpesa Mohingo of the Equator University, based in Uganda. We have professors here who may not be vice chancellors. And I had forgotten, I should have started with one professor, Professor Kamau. She has been introduced, member of Pan-African Parliament. Professor Mariam, you can stand up because you are the youngest in this room. Take a seat. Mariam is from the Netherlands. And a number of people may want to study further after this, PhDs, masters. I know she's very, very accessible. Now, I don't make a mistake, this protocol issue. Anyway, professors, Ambassador, I'm done. Just be careful. We have professors, we have doctors in this room, we have stakeholders, we have students in this room. And I welcome all of you. My role this afternoon is it's called a public lecture. But a lecture, usually people write notes. The people sitting here, they don't even have anything to write on. So it means this is not on their phones. I knew you would say that. I knew you would say that you have your phones. Now, one thing about a lecture, a public lecture, mine is a talk. It's a talk. So I'll give a talk. One thing is to look at the face and say, what is he going to say? But I want to thank you for coming. That is very important. At least I have people to talk to, which is very helpful. We want to look today, this afternoon, at this University of Nairobi, want to look at a very important issue about this continent. We are the parliament of the continent, as mentioned by Dr. Mngatana. We are the parliament of Africa. 5 members from each country who are elected members of parliament in that country, who meet in terms of the protocol 4 times a year in South Africa, Midrand, but we also meet everywhere in Africa. I think last year we had not less than 4 gatherings or workshops here in Nairobi by Pan-African Parliament on various issues. So we also go to every country on the continent and we conduct business of the parliament. And what is the purpose and why I'm here? We, as a parliament, in terms of Article 17 of the Constitutive Act, it says the parliament will provide a platform for the citizens on this continent. Platform to the citizens to be able to make an input, to express their views with regard to anything that is affecting the citizens of this continent, anything that is affecting the citizens of this continent. So citizens are free to approach Pan-African Parliament. They say, we as students of universities, we have issues and we want to Pan-African Parliament to pay attention, to listen, and as a parliament, they take these matters further. So we have people from all walks of life, sectors who engage with this parliament. The youth, very popular. Every year we make sure we engage with the youth of this continent. Last November we had more than 500 at PAP. We women, they also stand as a distinct group. And every year we have women's conference in addition to other women's or youth gatherings. Every year we do that. You may not know about them, and we apologize for that, but please get to know that we are here to listen to you and also to share with you. One of our functions in terms of the protocol, it says the Pan-African Parliament shall facilitate, I can use the word assist, in the implementation of African Union programs, policies, objectives. So it's our duty to ensure that the pronouncements by the AU are implemented, they are advanced to achieve. This is one of our roles. The other role says we should promote democracy, human rights, good governance, and even talks of ensure a democratic culture on this continent. The other, it says we're also supposed to ensure the integration, economic integration of the continent. We currently have a very serious flagship called EFCTA, Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement by member states. We are saying, can we as African countries trade amongst ourselves? Let's only not buy from China, from UK, but can I buy from my neighboring country, another country on the continent? That is what is going to make us survive as a continent. I may come back to that issue. We are also expected to make sure people of this continent are aware of what the African Union is and what it's trying to do to improve their lives. The Union only exists to ensure that Africa develops and we all enjoy good quality of life compared to others, and if not even better. We have this Agenda 2063, which is aimed at transforming this continent to prosperity, so that we have no youth who go and try to cross the Mediterranean and go into Europe and seek opportunities there. So many drown as they try to cross into. So many die on the way through Sudan, through Libya, through Algeria, and other routes, trying to enter Europe. And these could be even a very educated, degreed. It's not only the illiterate, no, even degreed people try to cross. And we have a lot of issues. So this is the AU tries is through programs to improve the quality of life on the continent, so that we can get also the opportunities for everybody on the continent. Yes, among other things, I just mentioned the key ones, but I want you to make you aware of AU programs on the continent. And work, of course, with regional economic groupings like SADC, ECOWAS, EALA, CEMAC, who else? IGAD, to ensure that we produce results. And of course, we work with national parliaments. So we debate issues. When we debate, we make resolutions, recommendations. Then we take them up the AU system. The AU system up to the heads of state, what we call the Assembly of Heads of State, which will be meeting next month, February, on the 14th and 15th in Addis Ababa. We also submit our reports on what is coming from Africa and its citizens. And then the 5 coming from Kenya, and 2 of them are here. The 5 coming from Zimbabwe, where I come from. The 5 coming from Egypt, everywhere. They go back to their national parliaments and say, when we met as a continent, we deliberated, we debated these issues, and this is what we recommended. That our country, for example, your country may not be doing certain things that have been identified in our parliament. Then you call upon your own government to change laws or to put in policies. You then confront your own minister in your country and say, this is what others are doing. This afternoon, my talk is on promoting and empowering the African consciousness in the African academic institution. I think the key words are Africa, promoting, empowering, consciousness or conscious in African academic institutions. Why is this important? What has gone wrong with our conscience? Why are we addressing the issue of the consciousness? Ensuring that we are promoting the African consciousness in our universities on the continent. I'm addressing Nairobi University, but that is not the ultimate. I'm addressing all universities on the continent. So whatever I say relates not only to Nairobi University, all universities on the continent. What is the issue about the conscience of the African universities? And I think as we get to the end, we'll be saying our universities are a bit relaxed. They are relaxed. Yet we are sitting on a burning platform. We are sitting on a burning platform. Yet the people who should give us that intelligence, that capacity to say, oh, the platform is burning, where should we rush to? What should we do? Our universities. You may talk of governments and the politicians, but first of all, it's the universities. Africa is sitting on a burning platform. This is a very important issue. And one of them, the most critical, is that Africa is a young nation, a young continent. More than 60% of Africa's population today is youth. The youth constitute more than 60%. When you go to China, the youth people now, they're now less than 20%. So they are aging. Even in Europe, I think at one time they made a mistake, of course. They overdid something. They didn't want the population to grow too fast, but I think they did too much. They said one child per family. That one child per family is now costing them a lot. They have to bring. In some countries in Europe now, people above 60 are the majority. Above 60 are the majority. But ourselves, we also overproduced. And now we have what we call the youth bulge. It's too much. The disease now, the whatever, the new generation is now also speaking louder than ever before. This issue of nothing for us without us. Yet there are no frameworks to address. We have a problem on the continent. In the next 10 years, 20 years, we are in a crisis. The youths are coming out in largest numbers. But we do not have mechanisms to absorb them. In the economies, in the politics, we don't have. And that's why they are pushing now. That's my lecture. I'm addressing your conscience. So what are we doing? This is a time bomb. Let's let it go a bit, 10 years, 20 years. This youth issue is a time bomb. But what are our researchers doing? What are our researchers doing? It's a fact that the population of this continent will double in the next 30 years. And as a result, the youth component will grow from 60 to over 70. But when they graduate, they just go everywhere, nothing. And they sit in the sun. Sometimes they are boring at home. Maybe of your few shillings, you go into town, you go and sit somewhere. Sometimes you have money for coke or a drink you don't even have, you're hungry all day. Just trying to hear if there could be anything. You place your CVs everywhere, no, nothing comes. And because of this issue of being very idle, drugs and illicit substances, now the youth population is too much. Someone after taking drugs, they don't even know who they are. You take a knife, cut through their stomach, and the intestines are thrown out. And then the person dies. Even here yesterday, I was interacting with some people, and I was told, oh, you know what, it's getting bad. 2 days ago, someone just started to go to the 3rd floor and to throw themselves on the ground and they die. People are just desperate. And I'm here that why are we quiet about universities? I'm a bit quiet. And that's the conscience of universities. The conscience of universities. It should say, we want to hear the academia. also. Only politicians are talking about the youth voucher. Universities are very quiet. So your conscience should tell you that things are not good. We are the researchers. We expect universities to come up with certain models proposed from our academia in research and say, what do we do? Some projections. That's one issue. So I'm here, that's the conscience. Why are we satisfied with the bad things? When the platform is burning, this is one case of the youth, the platform is burning. So we need to think. I want just right. Currently on the continent, we have food. Not all countries are self-sufficient in food on this continent. Yes, once in a while there can be drought, and explain it in terms of natural circumstances. Fine. Predict the drought, and we take measures so that we don't become vulnerable to these changes in climatic conditions. That's where we should be going. If something gives you troubles from time to time, find a way of addressing it. When you go to Europe today, if you look at some of the temperatures, we in Africa, God loved us more. We don't have those minus 20, minus what? No, we don't get such temperatures. And then you go and she comes from there. She knows these things. Extreme of everything. And you go into a house, in a building, this floor, there'll be heating on the floor. In the walls, there's water running, hitting the floors and the walls. We in Africa don't have that. So because their temperatures are extreme, they've come up with solutions for that. So we want to survive in those conditions. And what we'll do, we'll make sure the walls of every building is warmed up from the floor to everything. They found a solution. Why are the whole night? No, bring an aircon. If you can afford it, of course. But why are we content? What is this about Africa? And we are saying university conscience. Can you have faculties here when surely countries are importing? Yet, the same universities will tell us that Africa has the best soils for agriculture in the world. Africa has the best climatic conditions to grow crops in the world. And it is true. But here we are importing. in spite of those good conditions. And that's why I'm asking your conscience. Why are you quiet and satisfied with such bad situations about Africa? What are our investors doing? And I'm here to challenge you. Challenge that, no, we can't continue. And I'll come back to the issue of wanting to import everything. Everyone knows that when you look at any index of development in the world, and you look at Africa, everything is not good in Africa, but good elsewhere. This is a fact. Everything, talk of health, no. Transport situation, bad in Africa. Flies, bad in Africa. Food insecurity in Africa is, we can name, tell me more. Everything. And one time, at Pan-African Parliament, the World Bank team came to South Africa, and they were looking at issues of development of the continent. And the World Bank team projected on the screen what they called Africa at night. No, the world at night. The whole world, all the continents at night. What you could see there was all other continents at night, they were beaming. It was all light as if it's daylight. Africa was dark. And you could see one small, tiny light somewhere. Just a tiny something there. Otherwise, this is what? It was dark. Whereas others is lights everywhere. That also summarizes who we are. And I say, where are our universities? Where are we lagging behind? It's all about research. Why are we not getting to where those countries are? Why is it that our conscience is not addressing our own problems? And that's why I'm here. And everyone knows that in Europe, if you want to go from A to B, B to C, you just fly there. But in Africa, if you want to go now from here to maybe Kenya, a person in Senegal wants to come here, in most cases, you have to fly. Some fly from West Africa into Europe first in Paris before you can go to Johannesburg, Africa. So you fly from Africa, you go out of Africa in order to get a flight which takes you back to Africa. Very true and very expensive. Now, in the education sector, first health sector, we have the best natural forests, biggest land areas of trees where we can extract medicines. But we import from Europe where they only have some pine trees and whatever trees. They don't have most of the indigenous trees we have. But we buy medicine from them. We import from them. Where is Africa? Why? Why are we not discovering these things? They're valuable. And then some old or some person in rural areas may actually know medicine, but we don't allow them to think. We don't allow our people to think. Some people have medicine, good medicine, but for some reason, it's not there in the pharmacies. It's not, first of all, it's not even allowed in the pharmacies. Not by America, but by your own government, in Africa, everywhere. Every country, don't allow these herbs because they have not come from the Western world. A problem of inferiority ourselves. Sorry, I'm giving a talk. When you say lecture is usually 1 hour or 2 hours. Now a talk has no time. You know, on that point of why are we not thinking outside the box? At one time I did some work in Tanzania. I stayed in Tanzania a few years. And I had a friend who was a medical doctor, a gynecologist. So we were discussing these things about Africa and health. And he said to me, he once worked in Uganda. So he'd assist women in labor to deliver children. That was his job. So he says there was a case where this woman was to deliver, but she went for more than 3 days without labor. And doctors would say, no, this is an emergency. We need to do something and get the child out. So let's do what we call it, Caesar. Yes, cesarean operation. So the doctors told the wife that I think we need to do cesarean operation. You are not able to deliver naturally. And then the woman said, okay, yes, but call my husband first. So the husband went in there, and then she said to the husband, why don't you take that herb, which they know in their rural life. So if that herb fails, then fine, we accept cesarean operation. So the husband ran and brought back and gave the woman that herb just to chew. And they say within an hour she delivered. She delivered using that herb. For some reason, why are our universities not giving us that? Some will say, yes, at this university we've done this, but you have not come out in public. That's another problem. Why are you not confident to say, Africa, at Nairobi University, issues of cesarean operation now have ended. We have this medicine. Why are you keeping it to yourself? You have no confidence. Of course, the real problem is that medicine, you cannot discover medicine in Africa. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. During COVID, Madagascar said they discovered some plant, the medicine for COVID. And the Western world stood up and said, what? From Africa? No. Bring that medicine to Hopkins University or whatever. And unless it passes through there and they themselves say, yeah, it works. No ways. And they punished Madagascar. No flights to go there. Because many people are now flying to go and get the medicine from there. So there's no flight to Madagascar. Until that medicine is up. And I was saying, where are our own academics? Why are you tolerating this type of world? Why are you tolerating this injustice and unfairness? Why can't we do better? And what is the problem? We have the faculties in every university. There are several. No university, okay, some are arts, but nowadays even arts universities have some faculty of sciences somewhere. And even in this university, I was told we do have a faculty of sciences. And there's more, even health sciences. So even science and technology, and then computing and informatics, and even chemistry, health sciences, Nairobi University. And you find this everywhere. So why are we buying medicine from other continents? And it's expensive. Our foreign currency goes out. Instead of developing some projects, we end up buying these things. So I'm on conscience. Why do universities not stand up and say, no, Why should a university always in Europe, anywhere in India, come up with medicines and not ourselves, Africa? What is wrong? You give me the answers, eh? And there's even health science, is something called drug discovery. Drug discovery in the universities, including University of Nairobi. Why didn't you discover a drug for COVID? Why should people invest in Russia, elsewhere, Europe, America? They had drugs. You see, America had, Europe had, Russia, China, but now ours is zero. What is the problem? And I'm saying, why is it that we are sitting, this is a burning platform I'm referring to. Things are not good. We are not producing drugs. But we seem to be content with the degrees, PhDs, people with professorship. But we don't go beyond that. Now talk of data, for example, data security. Our data, health data is now going out, stored somewhere. Have we no capacity ourselves? We need to question ourselves why we need to store our blood, for example, in America and not here. What are we doing? What are these research departments doing? Yet, we have research and innovation. Research and innovation. Why should Germany produce for us BMW, Peugeot, Mercedes-Benz, whatever, Audi, all those? Why not in Nairobi University to have some people to say, we've designed this? Why not some university in Ghana? Why not Africa? You know, we don't have a car, one, that we can say produced in Africa or in any country. We don't have. We import Toyota to Japan, a very tiny island Japan. Gives us everything. Tiny, even technology, vehicles, Toyota, we buy from there, Mitsubishi. Well, so you see, this is something why, about their conscience. Why is our conscience satisfied that we are okay? And that's the burning platform I'm referring to. Things are not okay, but we are not doing anything that we can say. But yes, good gowns, PhD now, I'm professor, good gown, heavy one, and on top, but fine. But let's go to practical life, nothing. The only thing you can do after school is to court. According to Adam, this, according to you? That's a problem. According to you, nothing. Right, I can go on and giving you these good examples of why I'm saying there's a burning platform. And the problem is our conscience is tolerating that situation. Yet, everywhere where they are coming up with all these innovations about AI, artificial intelligence, it is coming from these research institutions.
The Kenyan people have been struggling to access care, and this now, as a church, we thought of looking for a way of complementing the effort being made by the government to supplement that effort by having CARIMED so that people can access care and the health institution can become sustainable.
With CARIMED now, everybody should be able to afford healthcare because it has options for everyone. From the one who has not been employed to the ones who are employed, the ones who do not have a high income, those who have like low income, middle income, upper income, everyone has a product that suits them.
You realize that when you talk about other insurances, there is that capping of years. But there is a provision with CARIMED. There is a provision of even when you are 90, 100 years, that provision is there. And some of us, when we are here in Nairobi, would like to take care of the insurances of our parents. And some are very old, some are 90, some are 80. So we have a way out. And CARIMED is answering now our many years prayer. So it's a dream come true, it's a prayer answer.
Capuchin TV.
Forward ever, backward never. Let us move ahead and so on. Even children, kuna kakitu tunaweza kufanya ili kanisa iweze kumetameta.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV. Kitambulisho
Why not manufacture an aeroplane on this continent? What is wrong? And our problem is the conscience that we are satisfied. We think we are doing well. We are not. That is why, and I want to tell you that this burning platform is a serious issue. I even spoke of the youth as a burning platform. Now, in the year 2000, the World Bank report, they always produce reports about the state of the world, economies and everything. The year 2000 report produced by the World Bank is titled, go and Google it, World Bank report year 2000. Google it. The title is, they call it a Millennium Report. And they say, can Africa seize, S-E-I-Z-E, can Africa seize the 21st century? Can Africa seize? Because the point was, up to the beginning of the 21st century, up to the beginning of the 21st century, Africa was lagging behind dismally in everything. So they said, now we are entering 21st century. Can Africa now seize this century? Please, you have been number last in everything. And they pointed out why they were saying that. And then they also said, one major problem was peace and security. Universities should also be engaging. I know there are departments in political science and all that, but we have a crisis on this continent of peace and security. Peace, people are fighting everywhere. People are fighting. And the World Bank said peace and security is one major problem. Why Africa is lagging behind. You know, we've allowed ourselves to be abused by other countries. That's why we are not moving. Peace and security. As we speak in Sudan, people running away from homes. They are somewhere. Children go for a whole year, 2 years. They can't go to school because of insecurity. And they want the universities to join the politicians in the African Union in terms of crafting certain mechanisms from universities. You can't keep quiet when you know that in Sudan, as we speak, more than 10,000 people have died. Because that's the infighting. We can go into South Sudan, we have problems. Now we go to Mali, we have problems. We go to these problems. So peace and security is a major issue also. Even universities are closed down because of peace and security. So what are we doing? So I'm saying the World Bank report says one major issue is peace and security. Why are universities not innovating? It's because the type of education. And just this afternoon, I was sitting with a professor. That professor, if I say he or she, you may know the person, so I won't say she or he. That professor said, see, there's no innovation because of the way we do training. I'm actually quoting the person. The way we do training, the way we teach our students. We need to address the way we teach. It's because we've just adopted what others do. Yeah, the way we train. The professor was very generous. The professor said, I'm almost forgetting, I'm trying to say he or she. So I keep avoiding that. This professor has produced publications, more than 70 publications on science. But they are all nice material to read. There is no innovation beyond the 70 articles. Problem. So I say universities, why are they content when they've not done anything in terms of innovation? And you say my university has existed for more than 30 years. 30 years of no innovation. We need to relook at the whole thing as how we do things. Now, the real problem is the mind which was created during colonialism. That's the problem we have in the way we do things. Colonialism dampened our spirits and is now an intergenerational problem. You may not have been there before independence in Kenya, but the sort of thinking, training, the way you were brought up, everything is a continuation of things under colonial rule. You lack confidence. You lack confidence. And we need to cultivate that confidence. Confidence, even last night, we went to a restaurant. And when here in Nairobi, they want to talk of this type of food, they give me a menu. I said, I want ugali. Unfortunately, we don't do ugali here in Dar es Salaam. But I can go to a Chinese restaurant here and I eat Chinese food. I can go, everything in Europe is in Nairobi. I can choose a restaurant, I can go to a Japanese restaurant, an Italian, a Portuguese, and they are all here. But when I choose typical Kenyan food, it is not there. That's the beginning of the problem. And the Kenyans would want to go to this food, to these restaurants that shun Kenya food. They'll be full there. They have 50%. Last night they were about 70% Kenyan, and then 30%. These are the problems you youth that we are facing. We have no confidence in our own products. And then we import much of what you are wearing here, even what I'm wearing here. If we did some audit, you will find that 70% of everything in this room did not even come from Kenya. And you think a country, and you think you can get jobs in that environment. No. All the countries that have developed, the first thing, they are jealous about their own things. The Chinese bring their own food to Africa. The Indians bring their own food. The Japanese bring their own food. What does that mean? It means we boost production there. They create more factories because we are buying their shoes, their clothes, everything. So they employ more people. In the end, they even say, come and work here. Unless we realize that, unless we create and produce our own things, should the issue of unemployment, the issue of youth unemployment, that will never end. Now you go to every street in Africa, not only in Nairobi, you find people who are selling in the streets and some markets. 99% of all those products are not coming from your country. And that's the beginning of the problem. You are boosting production in other countries. Then the economies grow, ours shrink. Then there are no opportunities. And I think one day the youth should rise in this continent and say, please, government, if you want to import, we have to sit down even with us to say, is it worth importing this? Why don't we produce our own? Oh, there will be so many employment opportunities. Force government, not just import for the sake of some businessman saying, let's import. That's where we have a problem. And then, of course, we suffer from what we call projective identification. You want to be like the colonizer. In one of the French countries, or most of them actually, if you want to marry, they even want to see if you have a house in Paris or some property there in Paris, how can I have a son-in-law who has never been to France, who doesn't even have an apartment in France? We are in problems. The feeling of inadequacy. We don't feel adequate. And sorry, I know it's now fashion, but some of us are not even happy with my skin pigment. The dark skin, no. You want to change it to look as if you were born in Europe. So in your face, you have all these things that, and when, what do you call it, when you take a picture, you are just as dark as myself. But then now the camera, or you change it, you bring, so when I'm looking at someone as dark as me, I look as if I'm white. And then I feel good that I'm looking white. That is the beginning of the problem. We are not happy with what we are. So everything from what you wear, you want to wear food, whatever is, should look like. If you are a good player, a soccer player, and then really very good, you want to say, I play like as a dean of France. You can't even say, I'm like some other player in Tanzania. No. Even if the Tanzania player is very good, you want to refer yourself to approve. Someone should approve that you are a true human being. So this issue of feeling of inadequacy is killing us. We have no confidence. We can't even innovate. And then we copy everything and paste everything. It doesn't help us. And then you say, no, we don't develop because there's no democracy. Tell me a country in Africa which has developed because of democracy. If anything, there is more fighting. This issue called democracy, it was coined by people in America. Democracy did not come from Africa. They're the ones who say, do this. But they are their own problems of governance, which we have never had ourselves. They're their own challenges. And they said, no, let's use this system. It may work for them, but now it's proving that not even in the Western world, even Trump, Trump complained last time that the elections were rigged, and he lost. So democracy is not just a panacea for everything. No, it's not. We need to rethink everything I won't go into too much detail, but let's not lie about democracy. You don't understand it. In all your blood, all of you, you are just kings and chiefs, not Democrats. You are not Democrats. In your blood, all of you, you are born kings and chiefs like me. You are not Democrats. I was telling others yesterday, why are Africans now happy with military rulers than those that were elected by the people? That's what is happening on the continent. The most popular now president is the one, Burkina Faso, Traore, and you like your memorial, all of you. And yes, thank you very much. You like Traore. But Traore came in through the gun. He was not elected. Those that you don't like were elected. That's the problem. And I said to researchers and faculties, why is your conscience should say, no, we should write. Why is it that the most popular now is Traore, who came through the barrel of the gun to be a president? And when you look at the others that were properly elected, you don't endorse them. When the Gabon held the elections some 3 years ago, 4 years, within 2 weeks, as elections, before they were even announced, the military took over. And then said, no, we don't approve. And then next, military rule, 2 years, they now are in charge. Then they say elections. The person who took over militarily when there were elections, he won as president. People like him. What is the message about democracy? They now elect a military ruler. What's called Niger. Some call it Niger. Niger. President Bazoum, a former member of Pan-African Parliament, was elected. Just within less than a year, the military removed him. And the people went to the streets and said, military, you have done very well. You have removed an elected person. So what are we up to? You are not Democrats. You are celebrating the one coming in through the gun. So there are questions about democracy. Today, if I were to ask, I seen a piece of paper in this room, we have a ticket for you to fly to one destination and do shopping. Anyway, where will you go? Here's money. Do you want to shop here in Nairobi? I give you 5,000 US in Nairobi, or you want to go there? 80% will say Dubai. So yes, it's true. Dubai is the best. True. You are right. Let's go to Dubai. You get all sorts of good things, good price, and the whole development in Dubai is out of this world. It's out of this world. For those who have been to Dubai, it's just another world. Not like these African cities. No. It's just another world. And Dubai now is beating even cities in America, wherever. No, it's actually better. But did you know that Dubai is not a democracy? Do you know that there is no democracy in Dubai? There is no democracy. Dubai is ruled by sheikhs, what we call chiefs, kings. They're the one who rule. And we know the one who is there now. If they die, the son is already known. The son will take over. But they are the best in terms of development. So when you say democracy brings development in Africa, no. Not in Africa. It has not brought in development. Now you have sheikhs in Dubai, please, the Emirates. They are all kings there. But they have the best in development, the best technological advancement. So be careful when you say democracy is a panacea to our problems. There's something missing in our governance architecture, and that is not necessarily democracy. We need to go beyond that. And then you say, democracy, see, and many authors who wrote books on democracy and politics in Africa, you know, in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, into 70s, they would thrive on ethnicity, tribalism. It does not promote democracy. Look, you academics tell the truth. African politics is all about tribalism and ethnicity. That's African politics. Go, if you come from the Kikuyu, you are Kikuyu and they only want to be a candidate in what is the other tribe? Ruo. You will not win, they won't accept you. These are realities, but the authors, you find the professors who are lying to us saying, no, we don't want tribalism. No, that is what makes politics. Go, I was in DRC some 3-4 years ago, and I was asking them, so your parliament, 500, how many seats by the ruling party? Say, Mr. President of PAP, here in DRC, no party can get more than 50%. No political party can get more than, no, because we vote on tribal lines. So no tribe is more than 50% in this country. So you only get your 30% from your tribe. Another one gets their 30% from their tribe. And put together and then we have a coalition. That's the reality about politics in Africa. We are being theoretical. Our researchers go and research. Our politics is natural, if it's democracy, but it's ethnic based. Here in Kenya, it's even worse. You know it. You know it. The Kikuyu, the Ruo, you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to be this. And someone wrote a book, I can't remember the name, a Kenyan, who said, I think you people know him, it is our time to eat. It's our time to eat as a tribe. So you always put in your tribe. It's bad, of course. We don't like it. People, when they're in power, they should not concentrate on ensuring their area or their tribe. No, it's wrong. But this issue of electing a person from my tribe, that one will never end. Until maybe God comes and then eliminates this, and then brings another team. I don't know what it will be like. Otherwise, for us, we are entrenched in tribal politics. And that is the reality. Otherwise, I'm challenging the universities that please write the truth about democracy. It is not, I keep repeating, it's not the panacea to our problems. And when I give Dubai as an example of best development in the world, best technology, best buildings, you sleep in a hotel that is 80 floors up there. Some of the hotels are in the ocean. You have to go by boat to your hotel. They're the best. So why are we lying to ourselves? I'm saying, why should we be so content when things are wrong, when the platform is burning, meaning things are not working? We have to do more research. Please, on this topic, I can speak until tomorrow. Education is the problem, and I want to close by saying we have to not only rebrand, but recalibrate our education systems and say it should be based on the output-input approach, not input-output. Start from the end. What are you trying to achieve? First, why is your faculty that does exist? What is the purpose? Not just according to so and so, according to so and so, according to, you will not get there. But try and say we are a faculty that should provide medicine to people. That's where we exist. So, where is the medicine? Then you start working from that point. So if you don't produce the medicine, you still feel challenged. We are a faculty of agriculture to make sure that there's food self-sufficiency. And you work from that point, questioning yourself every year. Are we achieving food self-sufficiency as a faculty? Not we're a faculty that is there to produce as many students as possible. Last year we produced 1,000 graduates. And this year we have improved. We have 1,500. The other year we have improved, we have 2,000. Then when you go, where are they? They are committing suicide. Because out there, they are not wanted. Their skills are not taken. Yes, they are committing suicide. So you are producing students to commit suicide. Because you have not been, oh look, I want to end here. I want to end here. Lastly, if we say which countries in the world are worth emulating that we copy, doing things, Japan, China, Germany, okay, in America, who else? Sorry? South Korea, who else? Singapore, who else? All right, let me end here. First of all, you have not picked even one from Africa. Yet we are the biggest continent. None from Africa. And that is where your conscience of academics should say, but why? Why none from Africa? But all of them that we've mentioned, their big strength, which we don't have ourselves, even as universities, is that their systems of education, innovation are indigenous based. They have not gone out to copy like we do. No, the Japanese themselves, using their language, they innovate in Japanese language. The Mercedes-Benz is whatever innovation, if you call it, in Germany. You go to school to do engineering, the Germany will say 1 year first, learn German first, so that the teaching is in Germany. The same in China. They innovate in Chinese. That's why some authors have said on development, there is no one country in the world that has developed by abandoning its own values, its own heritage, its own culture. Not even one example you can give. All these countries are very good at having strong values as Germans, as Japanese, strong cultures of them. And don't think culture means some old things. That's one problem also. Doesn't want to say culture mean 18th century. No. Culture exists even in your faculty of education. In any all the faculties have cultures. Culture simply means the way we do things ourselves. You are proud of yourself. In this faculty, in law faculty, that there's a culture of law faculty. In the law faculty. That's a culture. There's a culture in medicine, faculty of medicine. So, it is your culture, the way you do things yourselves, that makes you develop. No country has ever developed by abandoning being a Kenyan into something else. You will never develop or innovate. And sorry, I'll come another day. For today, I end here.
Give him a hearty clap. I think you are as very thought-provoking, very insightful, very challenging, and I can use many words.
Your Excellency, I support what you say personally, but I know this being the academy, you've made so many conclusions. Some of them are bound to be challenged here. And in our traditions here, when you give a public lecture and make propositions, there are people who will disagree with you. But personally, I agree with you. I feel challenged. We need to change our conscience, change our identity. I want to invite Professor Marjan van Hensel to give less than 5-minute reflection and reaction on the lecture. Then after that, Helen will come also to give the audience opportunity to react to His Excellency's lecture. Thank you. Helen, please come forward, but Professor Miriam, your time to respond.
Thank you very much, Professor Rindi, and thank you very much, Chief, Mr. President, for very, very important thoughts and observations. And I have to say that actually, also in my country where I'm coming from, the Netherlands, we have the same discussions. Because what we are being told now, you are teaching at your universities only in English. Why are you teaching only in English? Because our language is not English. In my country, we speak Dutch. Dutch is not Germany. Dutch is from the Netherlands. It's my country. These days, what we are being told is you need to develop science that is reflected in your language. And it is very challenging because actually the business model of our universities is to bring all the students from everywhere, and then that is why we are teaching in English. And the Dutch politicians, they are no longer happy with that because they are saying, you as universities, what are you doing for our country? So the discussion is pertinent not only for Africa, but it is pertinent for us. For me, I'm not a politician. I'm not even a VC. I'm a very simple professor. The one thing that I know is that if I want to innovate as a professor, the thing that I have to work with is the information that I analyze. And that information I put somewhere. We call it data. But data has become, data was something that we talked about a lot as academics. Because we do data, then we analyze the data, then we write a dissertation or you write an article. But now the meaning of data has become something completely different. Because if we look at ChatGPT, about any of the AI things that we use, then these AI things, they absorb data. So we now have a kind of a double problem, because we have the problem that whatever we consume in society is based on data, but we use the same word, data, as the basis for innovation. So what are we talking about? So for me, I have started to think that data is the core ingredient of something that comes from a context. If I go to the hospital and the doctor makes a record about me, puts it in the machine, then in that record I have my data. Now the whole problem around the value that we give to innovation is whether we still understand where that data comes from. If you go to ChatGPT, it does not. One of us yesterday was giving the example, I've not done it personally, I think I should do it. You ask in ChatGPT about yourself, this person found out that he was born 7 centuries ago. what was the data that linked it to this person? If we are using the ChatGPT, whatever for innovation, and all the data that it absorbs is not the right data, none of that innovation can be meaningful. So we need to rethink how we make sure that we understand where a data comes from, where it originates, whether it was even truthfully there or somebody was just playing around and said Miriam van Rijssen is born 7 centuries ago. Maybe somebody wrote it and ChatGPT took it. I don't know. So we need to know the origin of this data in order to know whether we can trust that data to analyze further. Now, if we talk about the context in which a record is made, then we are also going to have to talk about to whom that pertains, who owns that. And this is one of the big problems, I think, that is at the basis of what you have addressed today in terms of the consciousness. Because what we do is we let all our data go. And then they go to Japan, or they go to Dubai, or they go to the United States, or they go to Europe, and they do something with it. Then you get an AI, the AI comes back, but then the AI does not speak to you. Because everything that has happened in terms of the data that has been included is no longer your own. So what the AI is doing doesn't help you, but also the value of the data that was put in, you don't have because they have gone out. So what we think, and this is really the conclusion of our discussions yesterday, that as the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science, what we need to do is that we have to have a very rigid and solid program to make sure that we understand where a record comes from, where the data in a record comes from, that we understand where that is held, and that we understand how that is creating value and who owns that. Now people are telling us it's not possible because the big companies, Microsoft, Google, etc., what have they done? They've, as a vacuum cleaner, taken all of this data and then they produce new things over it. But the one important conclusion from the meeting yesterday is that the engineers from the members of the Africa University Network on Fair Open Science, they have succeeded very, very well in engineering and architecture where you keep the data in location. You care for this data, you curate it, you make sure you can find the origin of it, the provenance of it. And you can, because we have the internet, you can send the algorithms to all of these different sources. And then we can start discussions about the governance, how do you make sure that you get value out of that, to whom should that value go, etc., etc. These are the discussions for the future. But the important starting point is that we should not think that we can create value if we send all our data out. We should value the data that are produced here, that are produced in the universities here. We should keep them here. We should curate them here. We should make sure that they can be reused, that they are findable, and that we start thinking about systems in which that creates new value. It is a very important contribution, I think, that Africa can make, because these things, they were not discovered out of Africa. Mpesa, we cut and pasted from Kenya. We didn't have it, we only had banks. Then you come here as a tourist and have Mpesa, 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 Mpesa. Then it came back and so we need to have something like Mpesa. This that the Africa universities have developed, that we can actually keep the data where they originate from is so powerful, and everybody will want to have it. So is it true that important innovations don't come from Africa? They don't come from Kenya? No, that is not true. The only thing that is very true is that we need to understand that these innovations have value, and that therefore we have a responsibility to ensure that that value is used for the benefit of the country and for the benefit of the good. And with that, I hope I have been short. I know the time is going. I want to hand over to my host.
Give a hearty clap. I think that's a good reflection also. Ellen, over to you, to the audience.
Thank you very much, Director Orindi. Because of time, I'll be very, very quick in administering this session. Your Excellency, I'll begin by taking advantage of my role as a moderator to ask my first two questions. Listening to you, Your Excellency, you have painted quite a grim picture. You have painted a picture where Africa, from the issues of food insecurity to issues on the health, lack of innovations in the healthcare sector. And so, being the optimist that I am, because I also did pick that in your lecture, you actually gave us options as well. So where do we begin from? Where do we start from if we are to center Africa into Africa's scholarship? How do we move? Because we know as African institutions, we are actually still entrenched in the external epistemologies. We are still very much entrenched in external validation. So how do we start? Where do we start from, practically speaking? To my second question, Your Excellency, yesterday in Tangaza, and by the way, VC, I happen to be a proud alumni of Tangaza University, Institute of Social Communication. Oh yes. Yesterday, you called out our African researchers. You said, we are we lament. We are either talking about funding, we are just lamenting instead of providing solutions. And in your talk today, I didn't hear any conversation around the realities that we're actually facing when it comes to funding research. We have seen for a fact, and we know, that our African institutions are actually struggling. We have seen donor agencies exiting. We have seen shrinking grants. So how then, when it comes to R&D development in the continent, wearing your hat as the president of the Pan-African Parliament, what initiatives and what is that core thing that you can do from where you sit at the helm of the Africa's Parliament to ensure that we create an ecosystem whereby we have a framework for financing African research so that we can provide those solutions that we are talking about? And then still on that note, how then do we actually hold our African researchers accountable to ensure that whatever research you're producing is actually tangible and responding to our African solutions? So as you take note of those, I want to quickly open the floor to questions. And please keep them as brief as you can because of time. Just state your name and your affiliation. Please, I ask, please let's keep our submissions as brief as possible. I'll take the first question from there. I'll take the first 3 round of questions. From back there. Could you please have a mic back there? There. So in the spirit of agenda balance, I've seen 2 gentlemen raise their hands. Can I get a question from my lady? I'm a feminist at heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Sheila Ngei, Department of Kiswahili and Literature at the University of Nairobi. And so my question is both to the President and to Professor Miriam. To Professor Miriam, how possible is it to actually source the hardware to contain all this technology in Africa? And to the President, how can the youth trust the Pan-African government? Because we're currently in a country that betrays its youth over and over again. So why should we even trust our government with our innovations? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Second question, let me get one more so that we have the President answered. Yes, and one question, please.
Good evening. I'm Karanja George, statistics student, Faculty of Science. Professor Kerubo is my dean. I'm proud of her. Yes, I will direct my question to the President, Honorable Your Excellent Fortune. And my question goes, why are we continuing as Africa to bargain or to request for power? And I will back it with this quote that power does not respond to request but to pressure. I will also say that we have an issue with Africa that we are forgetting too much of how Africa, we've been traumatized by these Western civilizations and also part of Europe in some days. And here we are still begging, yeah? We are still begging. So my cry to...
What's your question? Go straight to the question.
So my question is, as the leaders, them who are in office right now, why are you requesting for power rather than putting more pressure and moving forward for it?
Thank you very much. I'll take the final question from back there for the first round.
Just the question.
Just the question.
Don't do a thesis.
Thank you, Mr. Rinda and the speakers of today. My name is Dr. Francis Wanyama, a clinical chemistry lecturer. I want to agree very much with the President, but then our point of departure is on the issue democracy. Because I think it should be the only civil way of determining someone that can represent us. But what has gone wrong in Africa is because most of the elections are stolen. So if something is founded on stealing, meaning the product is a thief, then you can never get it right. So let us first get proper election in Africa, then we will not celebrate dictators, because the dictators come to resolve the problem of theft.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would respectfully ask that you take the podium again and answer those first set of questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I was busy writing. First of all, in my own professional world, which you may not know, we say when there are three people, three, not more, if there are more, but if three people, and you spend the whole day saying, yes, yes, yeah, what you're saying is right. And we just agree, then it means some are not thinking. Of the three, one or two are not thinking. If you agree on everything, I like what he said, yeah, there are areas of disagreement. I like that very much. Once you disagree with me, I'm happy, because it means you are thinking. So these questions show that there are people who are thinking. You know, the democracy, what I want to start with it. Yeah, this one requires more time. I think the point I brought out was, if we understand the democracy as Africans, I didn't want to give this example, I want to come back to what I said yesterday. On the 7th of January 2025, Ghana inaugurated President Mahama, the current president, after he won resoundingly, voted for. And the day of inauguration, as you know, heads of state from various countries come to attend the inauguration. And when each one arrives at the stadium, a packed full stadium, national stadium, they call out names. The president of Nigeria, so-and-so, is arrived, clap hands. Now the president of South Africa. When it came to Traore of Burkina Faso, he came in full military combat. 15 soldiers accompanying him into the stadium. All the other presidents were not allowed, they cannot come in with soldiers. But Traore was allowed. When he was announced and entered there was the loudest thunder of applause in the stadium. The people of Ghana said, "He is the man, he has come." But he's a dictator. What is a dictator? He someone who is ruling without the proper constitutional authority. You were never elected. So don't think those who take power without elections, they're also dictators. A dictator is somebody who is ruling without respecting any law. He's just there. So military rulers are equally dictators. Idi Amini in Uganda is one of, if I don't know whether you can celebrate a dictator, but is one of the famous dictators of the continent, among other dictators. These people come through military means. So Idi Amin is a dictator. So let's not celebrate and call it democracy when someone takes power unconstitutionally and another gets through an election, maybe let's call it rigged. So if it was rigged, both of them become dictators. But the people now are celebrating those that come through unconstitutional means. That's what is happening on the continent. And Traore, probably the most popular president on the continent, but not elected. So the issue is, for universities, can you explain this conundrum? This is what we're asking for universities, but this is not normal. I'm going to give you another, because how you have brought up this issue, I didn't want to go in that detail. I gave the example, Mauritania 2008, held elections, someone won elections there. The military decided to remove an elected person. And Gaddafi, the then chair of African Union, had to go there to tell the soldiers that, if you do this, you soldiers, we are going to suspend your country, Mauritania, and impose sanctions on you. But before he landed at the airport in Nouakchott, Mauritania, there were thousands at the airport to tell Gaddafi that please, we like the soldiers who have taken over power. This is good as people. We support them. That's what I'm saying. So what is democracy then? Someone is elected, people then shift and say, no, yes, maybe the elections are rigged. Right. This is what the universities now to do research and say, how then do we create confidence in the citizens, in the person who wins elections? I heard a week ago, 2 weeks somewhere, when I was in South Africa, they say, oh, elections in Uganda, Museveni, even during the election process, say, oh, no, things are going like this. Say, what things? I mean, no, Museveni. Then I met some Ugandans, very educated, said, no, he's popular. He's right, he won 75%, that is correct, people like him. The other are saying, no. So, now I'm saying, do we understand democracy in Africa? We are also confused about democracy. Now, the former governor of the Federal Reserve, that is the Central Bank of America, Greenspan, he said, you know what, democracy does not work. Unfortunately, we've never been able to find a replacement for it. Basically, that's your point. That what do we replace that democracy with? Currently, not even faculties have been able to write for us and say, why don't we do things like this? It has its own inherent weaknesses. But in Africa, it is worse, of course. But let's take that debate to another day, and we move on. How can the youth trust government? Look, sometimes it helps to engage rather than to throw stones. Sometimes it's better to engage rather than throw stones. Look, I'm a very practical person. I used to be a president of students at the university myself. So I'm a very trained student leader. And I used to lead demonstrations. And when we moved from University of Zimbabwe into town, we would have a very good grievance to government. Good, agreed. Would we meet in our great hall? Agreed. Please, peaceful, we take this message. You walk into town, you then even lose control of everybody. Some, they see this car, they stone it. We are not there to stone citizens' cars. So I'm saying, even with good intentions, sometimes things don't go the way you want. Sometimes, and I'm a senior student, sometimes it's better to seek ways of engaging and talk, dialogue you call it, that issues are addressed. Look at Kenya. They had elections sometime, they now have the 2007, whatever that. A lot of people died in this country. Even ICC got involved. But it all ended when there was this handshake, that famous handshake. Which means sometimes it's better to actually engage. So when you say government, when the youth, you don't trust the government. If I had time, I would tell you that I went to this country, People have changed the governments in Africa. Zambia, they removed Kaunda, Kenneth Kaunda, popularly through an election. I went there a few years back, you ask anyone in the restaurant, waiter, how are things? From bad to worse. From bad to worse. So sometimes you don't trust them. Just go tell them that we don't trust you. It's better. So why are you doing things this way? It's a very serious, why Africa requesting for power? And that is, they will cause this trauma. And we are still begging. That's a very progressive question. 2025, the theme of the African Union was reparations and justice. Reparations arising from colonialism, slavery, that Africa should claim what we lost. We need to be compensated. Here in Nairobi, there were injustices. People were held. I went to Benin last year along the Atlantic Ocean, and I was taken to a slave trading point. Today, last year, it's still there. Where people were taken from the hinterland, I went to the slave market where people were bought. And people would come from all over, from Portugal, Europe, UK, everywhere, America. Said, this one, how much? It's there. I can go and say, last year I went to see it. How much? So much. Then they are put in a ship. And they construct something. There's a point they call point of no return. They say 250,000 people passed through and went across the Indian Ocean. Some died. And I think you saw something recently on the social media where they were saying those slaves were insured. You had to insure the slaves. And if any of the slaves died, you get money. You saw that? And what now some companies were doing, they were actually throwing in the water, throwing them off into the ocean, so that they can go and claim from the insurance company that some died on the way. So we need money. I'm talking of trauma. True, these things happened. And we are trying to say, please, can you compensate Africa? And now, as you said, I agree with you, that now we're asking for power from them. I think the best example now is what Trump is doing. If you look at Trump, basically looks at everybody as if you are not equals. They are super. They go and pick this president from Venezuela at night and his wife and take them to, and we are all quiet and content. That is Africa. We are content, but surely how can that happen? Now we say, I want to take Greenland, I want to Gaza, I want to take it over and build it, all those things. Basically, we debated the issue of tariffs at the Pan-African Parliament when Trump was imposing all sorts of things. And we said, look, what do we lose as Africa if today we were simply to say, no, we are disengaging as the continent from America. We are disengaging. We still have our clothes, we still have our shoes, we still breathe our air, we still have our toothpaste and toothbrush, we have our food, we still be better life than America abusing us. And I want...
We are the blessings of our land. We are the cream of our generation. We are the future of our nation. We are Entapuka Emma.
If you have a child and are seeking good school with Christian foundation, Mama Africa Junior and Senior Schools have a place for you. Grade 10 interviews are ongoing. View slots for Form 3 available.
Mama Africa Secondary School is a school founded with an aim of transforming life of young boys and girls from different backgrounds.
First of all, I'd call Mama Africa a home because Mama Africa transforms a student and also makes the student's life better. As it says, the motto is transformative education. It transforms a student into a better person in future.
Since its registration for the first KCSE exam in the year 2018, the school has achieved a good
pushing you to change things, and you should understand it properly. Now, where do we begin from? Our curricula, the way we have done things, and I said earlier on, a professor said, please, our own culture of training, and that's the point. Your own culture of your products from university, which is not output, input. First of all, let's say we want to get there, so how do we go back? We have a problem of democracy in Africa. People rigging elections. You start from there. What then do we do? But unfortunately, in our faculties, every program, when students come, new year, first year, second year, there is a standard way of saying, we start teaching, telling them about, according to this chapter 1, do the model this, model this, model this, and we don't start from the ultimate objective to justify why you have all these modules to achieve what. Once you start from the end, you will change most of these modules. You find that they will not take you there. Let's have the output-input approach. What is the purpose of your... Why are you teaching students? Not for employment. That's a problem. Yes. So that's the approach. But in Zimbabwe, there's something called a new curricula. They've realized all these things and said, no. Let's have heritage-based education. Heritage-based, they call it 5.0 education. Trying to run away from this problem. We want innovation. Of course, innovation helps and the rest. But first of all, point at your faculty. If you are to change, point at yourselves. Point at yourselves as professors, as deans, and say, no, we are the problem. Unless you admit that you are also part of the problem. The way you have been doing things, the way you've been teaching or training, Unless you accept that, you may not find the answer. Still entrenched in external, that's the point. That's why now we're not talking of heritage-based 5.0. Our pedagogy, the way we understand education is still external. That is true. But we have not had the people who transform it. And I say your research should do that. African researchers, yes, they lack funding and the donors are pulling out. Yes. Germany. Who are the donors who funded Germany to create Mercedes-Benz, to innovate? None. No external. Go to Japan. Who funded the Japanese from outside? On their own. On their own. They had no donors. Why do we need donors ourselves to innovate? I'm just being practical. All these countries that have innovated, there was not even a single donor. There was not a single donor. And I can remain that no single donor for these people to create whatever they created or innovated. And in fact, there's a debate about whatever donor syndrome in Africa. So funding convinces us. People are competing for the funds. You have to convince government that if you fund this to this level, we are coming up with a seed variety for maize, for rice, which will survive drought. They will fund you. Research and development funding, ecosystem funding, I think it remains about the researchers. And I'm simply saying, show that you are developing something that can change lives. Thank you.
I just wanted to answer the question that was asked, if it's okay? Yes. I'll try to be also short. There was the question of finance, and do we have the data centers, and do we have the hardware? And that's a very, very important question. So the way I want to answer it is to draw from what President has just said. In the way the architecture of information was built in that colonial time was that you would have these very expensive journeys, which would then go, Chief, to West Africa, where they would touch land, and then the same on the Cape, etc. So everywhere where they touch land, they built these places, you know them if you visited, and they were collecting information. Why they were collecting information? Because that information was very important for investing, for paying, for financing the next discovery journey. And that information all came back. It came back particularly to my country, the Netherlands, which was one of the key places from where these voyages were organized. That information was very, very valuable. It was so valuable that we even fought a war with the British, because the British ships, they had taken the post bags with the letters, containing the information that was ours. Now, it's very interesting. If you look today at the pictures, the continental pictures, you see that those journeys, they are exactly the same as the structure of the internet. You put them one on one, you have the same geographical picture. Why? Because the structure has not changed. The data centers are still here up in the north, and we still do the same thing. We send everything out, it is being processed in those big data centers, and then it comes back, and we pay for it here. So, of course, we lack money because we give away what is ours. We process it in Europe or the United States, then we buy it back. So we give away the basic resource. That is why we say that data is gold, that data is money, that data is oil. Do we need to go through those data centers? Should we have them here? I don't know. That I cannot answer that question. But the one answer that I can give is that we started in the COVID time, and the only thing that we had was we don't have the data from within Africa. They're not processed in Africa. So can we change that? We started with a very simple question. Now, our main engineers, they were in North Ethiopia, Tigray. And in the time of COVID, Tigray, there was a terrible war, and they cut the internet completely. So we had asked them if you can make this architecture by localizing everything. Can you do that? But we had no contact. We didn't know because there was no internet, there was no way to connect, so we don't know. So 3 months later, the internet opened for a very short time. It was 1 day. So they come on the internet and they said, Prof, we have made all of you things. We have localized everything. And I said, how? The internet was closed. We could not send any money. We could not send any computer. We could not send nothing. No, Prof, don't worry. We had the program from Stanford University. We had 3 months of time because of the war. We have localized everything, and it is no longer dependent on any external thing. And that's it, and it works. Now today we have installed it in the University of Tangaza. Onesmus is there. It works. It works. It did not cost us any money. It just cost us to use that situation and the creativity and the will to say, okay, we can resolve it. And they wanted to resolve it because they had realized that on all of their systems, they were relying on external backbones, and they did not work. So they said, we better localize it because then we control it. So is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Do we need the European data centers? We don't need the European data centers. Do we need money? Yes, we need money. Can we do it without money? Yes, we can do it also without money. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. President, and Professor Miriam, for your responses. In the interest of time, I just want to take 2 last burning questions. 2 burning ones. You can see, Mr. President, there's a lot of interest in this conversation. If we do not control this conversation, we will leave here at midnight. Yes. No, again, for gender balance, I'll take 1 from a gentleman and 1 from a lady. Okay, I'll make an exception. I'll take 3 because I have 2 hands here. Last 3. Yes. Can I have a mic here, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Could you please stand?
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry. Thank you very much. My name is Daniel Zemkel. I am from Ethiopia, from Max University. I am also working my PhD with Professor Miriam in Tilburg University. So I think, Professor, you have, Mr. President, you have provoked many things, and many of them are, of course, philosophical, and they demand lots of debate. One thing I want to ask is that, given that the narratives are funded, and the narratives of many Africans are based on heroism and war, what is your definition of values of human dignity and life? Because you have neglected the definition and the relevance of democracy in general, so that, okay, fine, but there should be some commonalities of people that they should share, and they should cherish each other, they should respect each other. So are you going back that what we should share is only the human rights, or even, because your premises were mainly focusing on the economic aspects, I would want you to emphasize what is the agency of the relationship between government and citizens after all, because like you were, in some cases, like the moral of the stories would went to like applauding to dictatorship in some contexts. So I think we should trace what are the major values that we are seeking from the relationship between individuals as well as the relationship between government and the individuals. If we don't do that, if we don't have any mark in that,
Please
then
wind up your
government
question.
will
Please
be
wind up your
continuing
question.
manipulating us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't lecture. If you get the opportunity, ask questions.
We can take from this gentleman here, and then final question from the back, from the lady seated at the back of the room.
Thank you. I'll be brief, and I'm glad that also some policymakers like Honorable Mungatana is here. The question is, they say that the man with the idea doesn't have the power, and the man with the power doesn't have the idea. Your Excellency, you have both. What are you using? What are you doing to help mitigate some of these challenges? And especially through the Pan-African Parliament, which unfortunately most of us, I think, have heard it for the first time during this, around this debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is James Jacob. I'm a postgraduate student here.
Thank you. We have a final question from back. The lady at the back.
Lady at the back, where are you?
There she is, right there. Please make it, go straight to your question.
Thank you so much. My name is Anesu Mazikana, actually from Zimbabwe, but I'm a second-year student doing my master's in public health. My question is to His Excellency that are you creating any opportunities for young people to be able to showcase their innovations? Because I think some people have innovations, but there is no platform for them to actually showcase that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, again, please, I would like to invite you back.
Just
one
one.
more. From whom? I even have a hand here.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, what is your Pan-African policy on youth unemployment? Now that we have a very long, big lag of unemployed youth in the nation. Margaret Kamar is my senator. Thank you.
Okay, a very short one. A very, very short one. Yes, you can just stand and pose your question.
I think His Excellency can listen to me. I am Dr. Muhammad from Maxim University, Ethiopia.
Straight to the question.
Yeah, straight to. Announcement is allowed. All right. Yeah? Okay. From yesterday's discussion and today's, it was fantastic. And I got one word, calibration is required. I truly accept this one. But calibration on education is not fair. Is not fair. It should be balanced. What do you think calibration in the politics of Africa? Especially people are tired of with this tribe-based election. That's why they are preferring the other way. So I need the answer for this question, and even calibration you should have to announce on the IGAD announcement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doc. Your Excellency, could you please take the podium and respond to those questions? Thanks.
Thank you. The issue of definition of values. If you Google now, you see African Union values. They will all be listed. So the Union has values: human rights, democracy, that Ubuntu. On this continent, all of us, in terms of values, apart from human rights, we do have values. Ubuntu, I think you've all heard of Ubuntu. Yes, being a true African, we are loving people. We are community people. We are not individualistic. Those are our values. I exist because of you. You exist because of me. That's the beginning of African values. This is a very important aspect, that we are not typical capitalists. were typical communalists. If you pass, he fails, you are not happy. And if you fail, he passes, he is not happy. Those are our values, because we want to move together. But it's no longer the case today, because we have been invaded by Western values. The values of democracy exist, and we respect them. So what is democracy, please? You are taking me back. And I keep hearing about democracy and dictators. What is democracy? Democracy is not voting. Because we tend to concentrate on vote rigging, and that's no. Elections are a means to democracy. They are not democracy in themselves. We have democracy if we elect the leader here, or me, or Dr. Mungatana. Democracy is about the accountability of those that are in leadership. Then you have democracy. If those in leadership are accountable, transparent, and that whatever they are doing is driven by the electorate, that's what we call democracy. Not electing an MP, all of us, 100% votes, that's not democracy. So we put in people through a mechanism of election to ensure that there will be democracy. And that democracy means those that we elect will come to us back from time to time. And we tell them our wishes. That's democracy. When you elect someone and does not come back to the constitutions after 5 years, that's not democracy. Election is a means. Sorry, I have to deepen a bit. 2008, in Burkina Faso, where now we have Traoré, before him, the then president, who had been elected in terms of a constitution which says 2 mandates only, 2 5-year terms. The second term ended 2008. But he still wanted to continue beyond 10 years. And then he, I mean, sorry to use the word, manipulated the MPs and moved that they extend the term for him. He succeeded. The MPs voted that term limit be removed. The moment it was done, there was pandemonium, demonstrations across the country. Parliament, you've allowed this one to continue. Why? Who told you? The people who are elected. Who told you? No, that's about accountability. These people are not accountable. There were demonstrations. No. Who told you? We never told you to go and vote to extend. There was a fire. People marched to the parliament building and put it on fire in protest of elected MPs. We are not accountable to their people. Now that's the failure of democracy. So election does not mean democracy. You have democracy when the people's will is carried throughout, and then people's wishes are seen through the type of laws and actions in parliament. So I want to emphasize this issue of election. Sometimes you can elect someone, no rigging, and yet there's still no democracy. Democracy is about leadership being accountable. Those people that you elected being accountable. And accountability means you come and consult with those who elected you. So I want to close by saying, just electing someone does not mean there's democracy. No. So the real values now, it's not just about voting. The values are values of accountability, of leadership. Those are the values we are looking for, not the values of going to vote, cast your vote. So once there's accountability, then you have democratic values. Not what happened in Burkina Faso, where people had to go and ban the parliament, they put it on fire, saying, we elected you, but you never came to us. So, this one keeps coming. The issue of dictatorship, it requires a leadership lesson, styles of leadership. But ultimately in politics, it's about accountability. If there's accountability, then there cannot be dictatorship. Dictatorship means the leader is only acting upon his own whims and caprices. That's a dictatorship. You just wake up and say, yeah, from tomorrow, nobody should come into town, sleep at home. Why? No explanation. The other day, I'm changing. Everybody drive on your right side of the road. Why? We don't know. The other day, no, come back, go back to the left. Yeah. That is a real dictatorship. You are not acting according to the will of the people. What are you doing to mitigate challenges on the continent as Pan-African Parliament, especially for the youth? As a parliament, the best we can do is to sensitize leadership, to get it from you, your frustrations, your ambitions, and we tell the leadership on the continent that, look, we have this crisis of you heard me how I spoke on your behalf. I was very eloquent on what the frustrations in the youth. I talked of suicide. Right, it means I appreciate that situation. And our role is to make sure this is communicated up to the heads of states, that they know we have a problem. But you also have a role to play. I even encouraged you to say, don't allow all these imports in the country. They are destroying your economies. Produce. Thank you. And then you are creating opportunities and platforms for the youth. Oh yeah, who are also being creative. And we as PAP, like I say, every year we invite youth women to hear from them. And of course, share that. Now, the calibration in politics, I think I've answered when I say the accountability is the ultimate. The account, whether we vote, whatever we do, whether ultimately those people who go to parliament, those people who are ministers in the government, civil servants, they are accountable and transparent. We have achieved democracy. That's the purpose of democracy. Nothing else. It's not to vote or to win or to lose. It's about leadership, accountability, and transparency, and that you hear from the people. Don't just do as you like. Yeah, I think I've tried my best.
Mr. President, indeed you've tried your best, but there's one question that keeps, I think you keep forgetting about it. Your position as the president, you have the power and you have the... Yes. What are you doing for us as a continent? And the idea.
Yes.
So what are you doing for us, wearing your hat as a president, for us as a continent?
What am I doing for?
For the continent, in terms of creating... using your power and from where you sit at the helm of the African continent. What is it that you can do? What is a core thing that you can do for us to create an enabling environment for us?
You know, when you're asked to evaluate your own performance. Ask Dr. Mugatana, Professor Margaret Kama there. I've always said, Kenya, you are a very strong country. You give us very, very competent MPs. Our contribution to you is to engage the policymakers on the continent. And we engage one by inviting people in Addis. We've got to go commissioners, ambassadors in Addis Ababa. We summon them to our parliament and share what you are saying. The citizens are saying this, and we do it very effectively. We don't hide it. We tell them, Commissioner of Agriculture is there. MPs tell them, MPs are not diplomatic. They really tell them the truth, failures of the AU. And these people, these two here sitting here, are some of the, if I were to mark their performance, I would give them 99% each. Because there's no 100. Look, these are really tough. And when they take the floor, that official from AU or whoever they are, they will sweat. Because when they have the language, they have the knowledge, they have the skills, the capacity to say, but. So that's our contribution, to make those people in power. You gave me a lot of power here. Thank you very much for the power you've given me. I'll look for it. But we do ask the ministers for whatever, we really put them on the spot. And that we do very, very, very effectively. Sometimes they don't like us. The people in Addis, they don't even like us. Why? Because we expose them. We tell them, you people are not doing. The citizens out there, the citizens are crying. The citizens are crying. And we are with you. We feel the temperature. We know the pulse in the continent. And we really, really push for change on the continent. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us give a warm round of applause. Those have been very comprehensive responses from the President and everyone who has participated in this session. Indeed, you have been a very, very engaging audience. I want to hand over the program back to Mr. John Orindi. All right. Okay, so I'll take this opportunity to invite Professor Mecha to move a vote of thanks as we near the end of our program. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. What a wonderful talk. How was it? Yeah, so good evening. Yeah, so you have been informed, my name is Dr. Sekir Mecha. I'm from the Faculty of Science and Technology, where Professor Onita is my boss. And I'm also a member, I sit also a support member of the World Endometriosis Society representing the African continent. And I've just talked that because of the challenge which we have gotten from His Excellency, that the African scientists, I think, we are not doing a lot. He has talked about innovations. He has talked about writing many theses, putting them somewhere to rot, and we are not converting into innovations. So I'm very sure myself and all the other professionals, professors, doctors, lecturers, students who are in this room, we have been challenged. So first of all, let me take this opportunity to thank His Excellency, His Excellency Fortune Cherumbira, for the wonderful talk. And I'm very sure all of us, we have learned a lot. And we have gotten serious challenges. So we need to wake up as the continent and try to turn it so that we can be like the other countries we are admiring. So, Mr. President, I'm very, very sure that the University of Nairobi fraternity may wish, maybe through democracy, or maybe through voting by counting or acclamation, we request, maybe we invite you with the permission from my Vice Chancellor. We have to invite you in future. We give you enough time so that you can inform us more on how we can transform these great minds we have for the betterment of the continent. Thank you very much. Then also I need to acknowledge and also to thank our acting Vice Chancellor for this afternoon, Professor Leonita Kerupo, and also the top University of Nairobi management for organizing for us this wonderful event, for giving us all the support. And I have to mention also other two people, Dr. Lindy, then also Erin, for being there to make sure that this event has been a success. So thank you very much. Then also I need to appreciate and also to acknowledge the presence of our two members of parliament. I know they are very, very busy, but they got time to be here. That's Professor Margaret Kamal and also Dr. Danson Mungatana. I've heard about you many times, but it was a good pleasure to meet you today and share some ideas. Then to the members of the African University Network, starting with Professor Mpesa, who's the chair. Then we have Professor Amwania from Tangasa. Then also we have Professor Leonita, who is here. Then also I need to talk about Mama Africa. That's Miriam fundraising, that's how we call her, because she has been the engine behind all this. So we thank you so much. Thanks for all the support. Fordham African University Network started a long time ago, but we have seen transition. We have seen it changing, like a baby crawling, then from there, here we have the network. Congratulations, and thanks very much. Then also I need to appreciate and also to recognize the presence of Her Excellence, the Ambassador, Zimbabwe Ambassador to Kenya, Her Excellence Winlek Moyo. Thanks for being here. We have been sharing as the President was challenging us. Yeah, so we see where the continent is, and I think we need to put extra effort so that we can transform the continent to be like the other places where people want to go. Then I need also to appreciate the staff of both the University of Nairobi, then also we have Tangasa University and all the other universities which are represented here. Yeah, we don't take you for granted, your presence here for granted. Thanks for creating time. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing with us. And it's through such platforms we are able to exchange ideas, and also we are able to mentor these young students. So I also want to also appreciate the student leadership in University of Nairobi. Do we have some in the house? Student leaders from University of Nairobi. Yeah, I'm very sure you must have been challenged because His Excellency the President said that I was a student leader at one point, but you see there's a difference the way they used to express their grievances. Yeah, so they were not stoning innocent cars for innocent citizens. So I think it's a value which we need to learn. So when you are not satisfied, you need to look for ways of solving your grievances, ways of talking. We engage through a dialogue. So last but not least, let me also thank all the participants. Yeah, you have been here. You have been here listening for more than 2 hours. Enough, you have had enough patience. And as the president said, he cannot give a talk to empty seats. Then last but not least, we have a number of media stations who are in the room. I'm very sure this event is being streamed live. So apart from this, apart from the physical participant here, others are watching online, and they have learned a lot. So thanks to the media, that's from Tangasa, then also to University of Nairobi Television. I think that's what I can say from my side. Let me take this opportunity to wish you a nice evening. Then also, the University of Nairobi is a very beautiful campus. It's a very beautiful campus. So for those people who have not been here before, get some time, walk around. I know we have a number of students and a number of staff from the University of Nairobi. They can show you around. So I think I have to stop at that point and invite Director Lindy to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you, everybody, again, and we've come to the end. I'll request Your Excellencies and the DVC, the VC team to leave at their own pleasure. We allow them to move out first, then you'll follow. We thank you so much, and we wish that we could have more time to engage. It was interesting. We will have another time. I know His Excellency has agreed that he will come again, and we hope to have good time with you when you come back to Kenya. Karibu sana to the University of Nairobi.
In the quiet heart of Nairobi, in the Kilimani area at Adams Arcade, along Moringa Road off Elgeyo Marakwet Road, stands a sacred haven of peace and warm hospitality. Welcome to Savelberg Retreat Center, a serene, well-kept retreat owned and managed by the Little Sisters of St. Joseph. Whether you seek a quiet space to pray, a comfortable place to rest, or a professional venue to meet and learn, Savelberg Retreat Center offers all that and more.
Among the retreat facilities owned and managed by the Little Sisters of St. Joseph is Savelberg Retreat Center. The center was established in the year 2000 with the aim of providing conducive environment for spiritual nourishment through retreats for both individuals as well as groups. It offers a unique blend of prayerful silence, natural beauty, and professional hospitality services. Our vision is to be a leading spiritual and hospitality center that promotes renewal, growth, and transformation in the lives of those who visit us. Our mission is to provide a peaceful and welcoming environment for spiritual nourishment, personal and professional renewal, inspired by Christian values and the charism of our congregation of helping where we are needed most.
At the heart of the center is our beautiful, fully furnished, air-conditioned chapel, seating up to 100 guests, perfect for prayer, reflection, and Eucharistic celebrations. For learning, planning, and sharing ideas, our modern conference halls offers a conducive space for seminars, workshops, spiritual gatherings, and corporate meetings. After a long day, unwind in any of our 65 self-contained rooms, tastefully furnished with hot showers, writing desks, fast in-room Wi-Fi, and a 24-hour power backup with laundry available on request. Your dining experience at Savelberg is one to remember. Our restaurant serves freshly prepared meals, crafted with simple, tasteful ingredients straight from the source. Enjoy our signature coffees, fresh juices, iced drinks, smoothies, milkshakes, and snacks. We also offer outside catering services, bringing Savelberg's warm hospitality right to your doorstep. And for your special moments, from weddings, anniversaries, graduations, and birthdays to spiritual retreats and team-building events, our beautifully landscaped gardens provide the perfect backdrop. Here, every guest is family, every visit a blessing. Find peace in the city at Savelberg Retreat Center, Nairobi, a serene haven by the Little Sisters of St. Joseph. For bookings and reservations, please call 0725 458 060 or 0733 251 716 or send an email to info@savelbergretreatcenter.org. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your staunchly Catholic identity channel.